0. Mu Yuyang, do you think you can defeat 11 of us by yourself? After a moment of silence, Wan Laoshan, who was the first to speak, narrowed his eyes and spoke in a cold voice. Everyone felt a chill in their hearts when they heard this. Immediately, they turned to look at Mu Yuyang. If the latter revealed a trace of hesitation, they would be able to make up their minds in an instant. You're making fun of me. No matter how strong I am, I will not be a match for the 11 of you. Mu Yuyang didn't hesitate at all when he heard this. He smiled gently and looked at everyone with his sharp eyes. His tone was extremely cold. However, if a fight really breaks out, at least a few of you will be buried with me. Who do you think will be so lucky? At the end of his words, Mu Yuyang suddenly revealed a smile. This smile was extremely terrifying in everyone's eyes. Xiao Yan let out a light sigh. The origin monarch qi in Mu Yuyang's body was almost depleted. If he continued to consume it, he estimated that he wouldn't even have the origin qi to maintain the origin qi's wings. At that time, he wouldn't be able to escape even if he wanted to. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan didn't say a word. His head was lowered, and in the empty hand in his sleeve, the Xiao Yi silently appeared. Under the protection of his soul energy, none of the monarch emperor present noticed it. What an arrogant man! In the crowd, Shu Li's eyes were extremely gloomy. He looked at Mu Yuyang, wanting nothing more than to tear Mu Yuyang in half. However, he didn't dare to act rashly. In this kind of situation, everyone had their own ulterior motives. He didn't want to become the focus of everyone's attention. Black-robed old man's expression was also extremely gloomy. Mu Yuyang's words were undoubtedly slapping these monarch emperors' faces. Although it might be exaggerated, with Mu Yuyang's strength, there was really such a possibility. Black-robed old man's expression suddenly changed. In an instant, he saw Mu Yuyang's body trembling slightly. What a good kid, putting on an act here. Black-robed old man instantly understood what was going on. He let out a cold laugh in a low voice. After that, his body suddenly rushed forward. His 5 fingers turned into claws. The origin qi on his hand curled and a ferocious aura spread out. At the same time, a ferocious and furious voice resounded. I will give it a try. Mu Yuyang's expression changed slightly when he saw black-robed old man rushing forward. He sighed softly in his heart. He flipped his wrist and was about to take out the heavenly net sword. Swoosh! Xiao Yan, who had been silent all this time, suddenly took a step forward. His sleeve exploded with a loud bang. In his palm, a fist-sized fire baby was standing. Both of his small hands were moving continuously. The small fire lotuses that he had prepared for a long time kept shooting out from his body like arrows. The fire lotuses contained some of the power of monarch flames, and they shot towards black-robed old man like shooting stars. Let's go! The small fire baby jumped down from Xiao Yan's hand. Xiao Yan cried out softly and pulled Mu Yuyang as they rushed out explosively. At the same time, numerous crimson gold flames appeared on the small fire baby's body. Under Mu Yuyang's stunned expression, they transformed into the appearance of fire babies. Nearly 20 small fire babies moved their arms continuously and countless small fire lotuses smashed towards everyone. What is that? From the moment black-robed old man charged towards Xiao Yan to the 20-plus little fire babies, he threw out small fire lotuses. The entire process took only a moment. Everyone only managed to react in time before they were struck by the countless number of fire lotuses. The power of the fire lotuses was almost harmless to these monarch emperor-level experts. However, there was a trace of monarch flame charm contained within them, causing them to have no choice but to pour out their origin monarch qis to protect them. For a moment, they were unable to chase after the 2 of them. Bang! The sudden appearance of the fire baby caused black-robed old man's expression to change. He casually shattered a fire lotus that was shooting towards him. An indescribable feeling was transmitted from within, causing his palm to hurt slightly. Only then did he notice that the young man who had been standing beside Mu Yuyang without saying a word had stopped everyone from attacking. Kill him! The moment Xiao Yan and Mu Yuyang left, everyone understood that what Mu Yuyang had said earlier was just an act. In an instant, they were furious. They roared furiously and wanted to go forward, but they were stopped by the continuous fire lotuses. Roar! The Ghost King's spear in Shui Gang's hand shot up into the sky. Black qi lingered in the air, making it look like a roaring flood dragon. The flood dragon rushed into the fire lotus and shattered all the fire babies in an instant, turning them into flames and dissipating. With the temporary delay of the fire babies, Xiao Yan and Mu Yuyang had already rushed 100 meters away. "Bastard! How dare you toy with our sect?" Xin Wei's expression was dark and uncertain. His body shook and he had already transformed into a ray of light as he chased after them. The origin qi within his body was strong and was much faster than Xiao Yan and Mu Yuyang. Wan Laoshan also gave a ferocious smile as he followed closely behind Xin Wei. The current Mu Yuyang was not only worth the 3 drops of essence blood in his hand, but also the head that was worth 1.5 billion. "Damn brat, playing with us!" Shu Lia furiously shouted. Xu Xing, who was standing beside him, had an ugly expression on his face as well. How could he be played by such a brat? "Chase after him." His lips moved as he spat out a word. Xu Xing rushed out like a cannonball. His speed was not any slower than Xin Wei's. Shu Lia also followed closely behind. "Uncle." Shui Gong gritted his teeth and was about to speak when black-robed old man waved his hand with a gloomy face. Shui Gong was immediately overjoyed. He held the Ghost King's spear tightly in his hand and chased after black-robed old man at the same time. This time, many Monarch Emperor warriors had surrounded Mu Yuyang. If he could see male die with his own eyes, he would be able to shake off the trauma in his heart. In an instant, 11 Monarch Emperor rushed out. They charged at Mu Yuyang aggressively. On the ground, those severely wounded emperors were naturally unattended. Each of them was moaning in pain. A moment later, the dark golden beast's body that was lying on the ground suddenly moved. The small dark golden beast slowly crawled out from the abdomen and extended its ferocious head from the carapace. Looking at the surrounding heavily injured emperor powerhouses, a trace of blood leaked out from its fierce eyes. Then, under the careful protection of the dark golden beast, it slowly crawled towards the humans who were unable to get up. Under the despairing eyes of the group of injured people, he opened his bloody mouth. In midair, Xiao Yan and Mu Yuyang rushed towards the exit of Silver Moon Mountain. Not far behind them, there were nearly 10 rays of light. Within the rays of light, the group of murderous people were crazily chasing after them. Wherever they passed by, faint traces could be seen in the sky. "Senior Mu, I'm sorry for dragging you into this." The fire wings on his back flapped. The origin qi in Xiao Yan's body was also somewhat unable to continue. Previously, he had used up a large amount of his origin monarch qis to create over 20 fire babies with the help of the Xiao Yi. Now, it was somewhat difficult for him to maintain his flying speed. Beside him, Mu Yuyang's face was also extremely pale. It was obvious that he was about to overdraft his strength. When he heard Xiao Yan's words, Mu Yuyang gently smiled and said, "There is no such thing as dragging me down. It was just a few old dogs chasing after me. When I was still an emperor, I was hunted down by 3 Monarch Emperor experts. That was a close call." As the two of them conversed, 2 figures whistled past. Soon, they arrived at the outer perimeter of Silver Moon Mountain. "The origin monarch qi in my body has been consumed too much. This cannot continue. I can only fight with them in the forest." Mu Yuyang frowned slightly. He looked down at the dense forest below and said softly. Xiao Yan nodded. Just as he was about to land, his expression suddenly changed. He suddenly looked into the distance. There, a long spear that was as strong as a dragon pierced through the sky. On top of the long spear stood a young man with a cold expression. The coldness on the young man's face was like ice that would never melt for 10,000 years, causing people to have the courage to fight. Behind the young man was a woman with black hair. Her figure was graceful and her face was stunning. There was a manly aura between her brows. It was Wu Shaoqi and Lin Dao. 1-inch Xiao Yan. Wu Shaoqi saw Xiao Yan and Mu Yuyang at first glance, and she couldn't help but feel happy in her heart. When she saw that there were nearly 10 Monarch Emperor warriors following behind them, she was slightly shocked. Did they poke a hornet's nest? Wu Shaoqi and Lin Dao quickly came to Xiao Yan's side and asked in shock. However, a strange joy surged into her heart. She was an extroverted person, and now that she saw so many powerful enemies, she felt nervous and happy. Mu Yuyang, I can't believe you are also so weak. Lin Dao's sharp eyes looked directly at Mu Yuyang. When he sensed the lack of origin monarch qis in Mu Yuyang's body, his expression involuntarily changed, and he immediately said in a cold voice. It can't be helped. There are a lot of enemies. Mu Yuyang smiled and stopped. He really felt a sense of powerlessness coming from his body. He didn't have any strength left. Senior Mu, this is the medicine pill that Elder Lu of the Pill Association gave to grandfather. It has a great effect on recovering the origin qi. Seeing that the enemy was getting closer and closer, Wu Shaoqi took out a crystal yellow medicine pill and handed it to Mu Yuyang. Mu Yuyang nodded and did not say anything. He swallowed the medicine pill. When the medicine pill entered his abdomen, a faint warm feeling was immediately transmitted from his dantian. His originally weak limbs seemed to have gained some strength. Why are you guys here? Seeing Wu Shaoqi and Lin Dao, Xiao Yan could not help but doubt. It could not be such a coincidence that Lin Dao also came out to take the graduation exam. Even if it was Wu Shaoqi, she did not seem to have a reason to follow them. Wu Shaoqi was about to speak when Lin Dao's cold eyes stared straight ahead. A rare smile appeared on his cold face. Ghost Hawks, Sky Python Group. There were a lot of people. While the few of them were talking, numerous Monarch Emperor level experts suddenly arrived. When their smiling faces saw Lin Dao, their expressions instantly changed. Lin Dao, why is he here? Xin Wei sucked in a breath of cold air and a bitter expression emerged on his face. Although Mu Yuyang's ranking was higher than Lin Dao's on the Yunluo's ranking, in terms of reputation, it was undoubtedly Lin Dao who was better than him. The ferocity and coldness of the latter was something that even they couldn't help but exclaim in their hearts. After all, Mu Yuyang would only kill those who posed a threat to him. However, if Lin Dao offended his people, those who were related to him would all be killed. Lin Dao, what's wrong? Is the Yunluo Academy going to release all 10 men from the realm in Valley? Wan Laoshan gritted his teeth. Mu Yuyang was right in front of him, and it seemed like he didn't have any strength left. He didn't want to let go of this fat piece of meat in front of him, but he didn't dare to act rashly, so he could only speak in a cold voice. Lin Dao didn't say anything when he heard this. There was no expression on his cold face. He stretched out his right hand, and the Imperial Dragon Point blue spear under his feet appeared in his hand. He pointed the tip of the spear at everyone, and his eyes were filled with endless coldness. Whoever wants to die, come and try. Bastard. Being humiliated by a young man like this, the faces of all Monarch Emperor warriors darkened. They were all people with high positions in their respective gangs, and they had never suffered such humiliation before. Damn it. I don't believe that this young man from the Yunluo Academy can turn the tables on us. A Monarch Emperor warrior finally couldn't hold it any longer. He roared furiously and rushed towards Lin Dao like a bolt of lightning. The origin qi on his body was surging and carrying the force of shattering the mountain rocks, causing the space to crack. Lin Dao's expression was indifferent, and he remained unmoved. The Imperial Dragon Point blue spear in Lin Dao's hand seemed to have let out a dragon roar the moment the huge palm of the former was about to strike him. In the next moment, everyone could only see a shadow flashing past. Lin Dao had already appeared behind the Monarch Emperor level expert. He pointed behind the Imperial Dragon Point blue spear. The tip of the spear pierced through the latter's body and lifted him up to the tip of the spear. Fresh blood gurgled out, and it was clear that there was no longer any life force left. One move to kill. Black-robed old man's mouth was slightly bitter. This guy's strength was not any weaker than Mu Yuyang's. He was the same as Mu Yuyang, a Monarch Emperor, but he was still killed by a single strike. This kind of person had far exceeded his knowledge. Who else? The long spear in his hand trembled, shaking off the body of the dead man. Lin Dao's facial expression didn't change at all. His sharp eyes looked at everyone with extreme coldness. Seeing Lin Dao's strength, Wu Shaoqi secretly gritted her teeth. This was the true strength of a powerful warrior in Realm in Valley. An expert on the same level as her grandfather was actually killed by him so easily. Thinking of this, Wu Shaoqi quietly looked at her hands and pouted. A puzzled look flashed across her beautiful eyes, as if she was hesitating about something. Mu Yuyang and Xiao Yan flew backwards without showing any surprised expression. The former only smiled lightly, and a trace of passion flashed across his eyes. This fellow had grown a lot stronger after coming out of illusory spirit space. Xiao Yan looked at the majestic Lin Dao and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Between him and these two true experts of Realm in Valley, there was only one thing that he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Sure enough, there was still a long way to go. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but think of Xiao Yi. He still didn't know how strong this guy was, and how powerful he was. Lin Dao had killed a monarch emperor with lightning speed, which had obviously shocked everyone. For a moment, no one said anything. Lin Dao's cold eyes swept across the crowd. Just as he was about to speak, Xu Xing's voice suddenly sounded from the crowd, "Since everyone is afraid, we can leave now. After that, all the representatives will become famous in Capital of Chaos." At this point, Xu Xing sneered. His tone was full of sarcasm. Everyone's face darkened when they heard this. They cursed in their hearts, and their hesitation was instantly resolved. Xu Xing's words had forced them to attack. Kill! With Xu Xing's words, Xu Lia, who was standing aside, couldn't hold himself back any longer. With a furious roar, the origin chi in his palm rushed forward like a roaring thunder towards Lin Dao. Behind him, Shui Gong, who had long lost his patience, followed closely behind. The Ghost King's spear in his hand tore through the void and transformed into a pitch-black flood dragon. At the moment when the two of them attacked, black-robed old man, Xin Wei, and the others didn't hide anymore. All of them let out furious roars, and as the origin chi exploded, the formidable monarch skill had already struck out. When Xu Xing saw this, a cold smile emerged on his face. He leapt up and rushed towards Mu Yuyang, who was standing behind Lin Dao. 10 monarch emperor warriors rushed over. The origin chi was so powerful that it shook the heaven and earth. The vast forest below was turned into ashes. Lin Dao frowned and took a deep look at Xu Xing. However, there was no fear on his face. The Imperial Dragon Point blue spear in his hand gently tapped the void. Then he leapt towards Xu Lia and Shui Gong. "There's still me." Seeing everyone rushing towards Lin Dao, Wu Shaoqi, who had a look of anticipation on her face, suddenly became unhappy. She shouted and moved her hands. A hard bow that was flickering with a fiery red light appeared in her hands. With a flick of her fingers, arrows made from origin chi shot out. The air that the arrows streaked across was filled with flames, and it contained an infinite amount of force. Xiao Yan was slightly shocked. When they were fighting against the giant bear monster in illusory spirit space, Wu Shaoqi had also used bows and arrows. But this time, the power was clearly much stronger than before. Even he felt a shiver the moment the arrows exploded. Swoosh! The arrow was like a fiery falcon, piercing through space. Under Xiao Yan's gaze, it instantly hit a monarch emperor-level expert that was rushing over. It was Xin Wei's younger brother. Ah! In the next moment, the monarch emperor-level expert's expression suddenly changed, and it let out a miserable cry. The arrow had already struck his left shoulder, causing a raging flame to ignite. It incinerated all of his origin monarch chis. In the blink of an eye, the raging flame had already spread to his entire left arm. Lin Dao's eyes were like lightning. With a light flash, he dodged the attacks of a few monarch emperor warriors. The long spear in his hand was like a dragon chasing the sun as it pierced through the chest of the former. Everyone was startled after killing a monarch emperor in an instant. Just now, they had noticed Wu Shaoqi, who had a delicate and pretty face. The latter swung her shoulder-length black hair and smiled proudly. The attack in her hand was not slow. She once again aimed at a sturdy old man. Her 5 fingers flicked gently and another 3 arrows shot out explosively. The muscular old man was shocked when he saw this. The origin chis all over his body surged wildly and formed an indestructible barrier in front of him. 3 arrows shot out explosively one after another, causing the origin chi barrier to buzz. The old man was also affected by the impact of the attacks, causing his blood to surge as he retreated. Mu Yuyang looked at Wu Shaoqi, and was secretly shocked in his heart. Elder Wu's granddaughter was indeed extraordinary. She had obtained a great opportunity in illusory spirit space, and in such a short period of time, she was able to use that kind of power. Everyone was shocked when they saw Wu Shaoqi's fierce means. The fire that had just ignited in their hearts was instantly extinguished. Lin Dao was not easy to deal with, but this mysterious girl was actually so powerful. The others subconsciously stopped. Lin Dao wouldn't stop. He killed Xin Wei's younger brother with a single spear strike. The former's expression didn't change at all, as if he had just killed an insignificant ant. After throwing him down, the Imperial Dragon Point blue spear cut through the void and blocked Xu Lia's huge axe. The huge force spread out, causing Xu Lia, who was holding the huge axe tightly, to tremble. A trickle of blood flowed out. Wu Shaoqi was not slow at all. Her spiritual eyes moved slightly. A smile appeared on her pretty face. When she received the inheritance of Flame Lord. During her time in illusory spirit space, she had basically memorized those moves. What she lacked now was actual combat. Although these Monarch Emperor level experts were aggressive, there were only 1 or 2 of them that were truly powerful. The remaining ones were not even 5 Monarch Emperor. And her strength was already at the 4th Monarch Emperor. If she could refine all the origin Qis in her body, she was confident that she could reach the 6th Monarch Emperor. Even 7 Monarch Emperor, 5 Dragon Flame Arrow. Wu Shaoqi leapt onto the bow. The origin Qi on her delicate hand was surging. Within her body, the energy source of Flame Lord, which had already been refined, flowed out and gathered on the bow. Her 5 fingers flicked continuously, and 5 roaring fire dragons shot out like 5 arrows. The fire dragons streaked across the sky like sharp arrows and rushed towards the people not far away. Lin Dao could not help but narrow his eyes when he sensed the power that spread over the fire dragons. His body leapt like a dragon and dodged the attack of the origin Qi. Damn it! The fierce attack was easily dodged by Lin Dao. The fury in Shui Gang's eyes was overflowing. A deep sense of powerlessness surged in his heart. First it was Mu Yuyang and then it was Lin Dao. These 2 fellows were about the same age as him, but their strength was almost on par with the heaven and earth. This feeling of powerlessness made him feel extremely aggrieved. The fire dragon roared and rushed over. Shui Gong coldly glanced at it, then he coldly harumphed. The Ghost King spear in his hand swept out. A black Qi filled the air, and it carried an unparalleled force as it ruthlessly shattered the fire dragon. Woo! The instant the fire dragon was shattered, Shui Gang's hand that was holding the Ghost King spear suddenly trembled. He couldn't hold it firmly, and the Ghost King spear actually flew out. Black-robed old man's hand moved quickly, and firmly grabbed the Ghost King spear that was flying backwards. Shui Gong received the Ghost King spear that black-robed old man threw at him, and his face turned bitter. He did not know what to say. Black-robed old man's face was also gloomy. One of the 5 fire dragons had been shattered by Shui Gong, and the other 4 had rushed into the crowd. Although the power was ordinary, it contained an inexplicable majesty that made many people tremble. Clang! Right at this moment, a sword cry suddenly sounded. Mu Yuyang, who had recovered some of his strength, appeared next to Lin Dao in a flash. A cold light flashed in his eyes. The flames on Xiaoyan's body surged and he came to Wu Shaoqi's side. Endless pressure spread out from his body, covering the entire sky and earth, pressing down on everyone's nerves. When they saw the 4 of them coming forward at the same time, Xu Xing's facial expression turned cold, and a sense of helplessness welled up in his heart. A single Lin Dao wasn't easy to deal with. Now that the 4 of them had joined forces, if all of them, Monarch Emperor warriors, joined forces, the chances of them winning would be very low. Haha, you guys are really strong. I'm just here to watch the show. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Wan Laoshan's eyes sparkled as he cursed in his heart. After that, he laughed and nodded at Mu Yuyang and Lin Dao before leaving. Under such circumstances, when the few of them were working together and using all their strength, it was true that they would be able to kill them all, but it would be even more troublesome after killing them all. I'll kill you while you're sick. It was the basic law of the capital of chaos. These people were not old foxes. No one would be stupid enough to be used as a spear. It would be a waste to take advantage of the situation. It was better to leave now so as to avoid getting into trouble before eating the pork. Seeing Wan Laoshan leave, Xu Xing's face darkened instantly. He was about to berate Wan Laoshan harshly. Black-robed old man cupped his hands towards him and brought Shui Gong away. Although he wanted to kill Mu Yuyang, the difference in strength between them was just too great. It wasn't easy for the Ghost Hawks to produce a genius like Shui Gong, so they didn't want to lose out on a small matter. A bunch of trash. Xu Xing finally couldn't help but curse. Initially, he had hoped that everyone would attack together and kill Mu Yuyang. Now, Lin Dao and Wu Shaoqi had slightly changed their minds. These people had lost all their fighting spirit. I'm sorry, the Mercenary Alliance is a big family. We, as small gangs, can't bear the pain of losing a monarch emperor. The burly old man who was sent flying by Wu Shaoqi's 3 arrows shook his head. Although he had an unsatisfied expression on his face, he still left happily. When Xin Wei, who had been silent all this time, heard this, a trace of determination appeared on his gloomy face. Without saying a word, he followed the old man and left. His younger brother had been killed by Lin Dao. Although he was furious in his heart, after hearing the latter's words, he regained some of his rationality. If he were to unfortunately die, his heavenly python group might really fall. Lin Dao, Mu Yuyang, there were also those two bastards. The heavenly python tribe, will definitely take revenge for this. Xin Wei's eyes were scarlet red, and he felt extremely sorrowful in his heart. For the sake of obtaining the essence of the silver moon, he dispatched nearly half of the heavenly python group's elites. He never imagined that all of them would actually die miserably, and even his younger brother's life would be lost here. In an instant, more than half of the monarch emperor had left. The rest of them exchanged glances with each other, sighed, and left one after another. They no longer dared to have any thoughts about Mu Yuyang and the essence of the silver moon. Now, only the two of you are left. Mu Yuyang smiled gently. He pointed the heavenly net sword in his hand at the two of them. Xu Xing said, "Which one of you will go first?" Xu Xing was so angry that his body was trembling. His face was red and red. Although Xu Lia was angry, he could tell the severity of the matter. He remained silent and gritted his teeth. If he had known this would happen, he would have teamed up with Luo Jun. He would have done anything to help Luo Jun. Except for these two brats. Xu Xing inhaled a deep breath of air. Finally, he let out a soft sigh and said, "Little brother Mu is being too serious. Today's matter is none of our business. These few little friends are magnanimous, let's forget about this matter." Mu Yuyang smiled upon hearing this. He didn't say anything. He knew that someone would take the initiative to speak. In the next moment, Lin Dao's cold voice resounded. "Neither of you will be able to leave." Hearing Lin Dao's voice, Xiao Yan clearly heard Wu Shaoqi's soft sigh by the side. He could not help but reveal a trace of excitement on his face. Xiao Yan did not say anything. This guy obviously wasn't satisfied with the match just now. When Lin Dao opened his mouth, Mu Yuyang didn't say anything. He took a step back. Although he had recovered some of his strength, his true strength was still far from being restored. Lin Dao was happy to face such a thing. "Lin, don't be too arrogant." Xu Lia couldn't hold it in any longer. He roared furiously. His eyes were blood red, and the veins on his forehead were ferocious. "Shut up!" Lin Dao gently spat out two words. The tip of his foot lightly tapped on the space. The Imperial Dragon Point blue spear in his hand was like a roaring dragon as it rushed towards Xu Xing and the other man. Just now, Xu Xing had stirred up the crowd. Lin Dao had already remembered these two men in his heart. Therefore, these two men must die today. 2 inches high. Wu Shaoqi opened her mouth and looked at Lin Dao's back. She swallowed the words she was about to say. When she came with this guy, she didn't say a single word during the entire journey. Lin Dao's cold expression made her feel extremely oppressed. She always felt uncomfortable, although she wanted to test her own strength this time. However, Lin Dao had already set the two of them as his targets, so it was not convenient for her to go forward. She was afraid that she would make the other party unhappy. "You'd better not make a move. This fellow has just come out of illusory spirit space. These two bastards from the Mercenary Alliance can give him a try." She seemed to have seen through Wu Shaoqi's inner thoughts. Mu Yuyang said indifferently. He was also very curious about the extent of Lin Dao's strength. Wu Shaoqi pouted when she heard Mu Yuyang's words, but she still responded. After all, the former's reputation was too great, and his deeds were circulated throughout the entire academy. Even those elders were full of admiration when they talked about Mu Yuyang. Being locked on by Lin Dao's qi, Xu Xing and Xu Lia could only brace themselves and fight. After exchanging blows for a short while, Xiao Yan could already see the gap between the three of them. Even though the three of them had used up more or less some origin monarch qis, Lin Dao seemed to be much more relaxed than Xu Xing and Xu Lia. The Imperial Dragon Point blue spear in his hand was like a dragon's shadow leaping up and down, leaving after-images behind. This caused the two of them to be exhausted from running around, and for a moment, they could only parry. "How did you guys find this place?" Previously, the situation was urgent and Xiao Yan did not have the time to ask. Now that he had calmed down, he looked at Wu Shaoqi who was beside him. Wu Shaoqi giggled when she heard him. A cunning look emerged in her intelligent eyes and she said, "I told Grandpa before." Although he said that he did not agree on the surface, he still cared about it in private. She gathered a group of elders to discuss how to deal with the heavenly beast and just happened to hear that the dark golden beast in Silver Moon Mountain had just given birth. Its strength had been greatly reduced, and the dark golden beast wasn't as aggressive as any ordinary heavenly beast. He told me that it just so happened that Lin Dao came here to obtain a drop of blood essence. I'll go with him. After saying that, Wu Shaoqi looked at Mu Yuyang, who was not far away, and whispered to Xiao Yan. Senior Lin is so serious. He didn't even speak to me on the way. Xiao Yan smiled when he heard that. It was really difficult for someone like Lin Dao to communicate with him. After hearing what Wu Shaoqi said, Xiao Yan felt a little conflicted. One of the 3 drops of blood essence in his hand belonged to Mu Yuyang, and the other one needed to be used to concoct pills for Xuan Er. The last drop was necessary for him to cultivate the profound martial arts. It seemed like he didn't have any spare time to give it to Lin Dao. Seeing Xiao Yan frown, Mu Yuyang seemed to have noticed it. He said softly, I only need the essence of the silver moon outside. That drop of blood essence, give it to Lin Dao. Xiao Yan was delighted when he heard this. He looked at Mu Yuyang gratefully. After this storm, the two of them quickly became familiar with each other. While they were talking, the battle between Lin Dao and Xu Xing became more intense. The sky and earth were constantly roaring and exploding. At this moment, it was as if Lin Dao was holding an Azure dragon in his hand. The Azure dragon gently tapped the blue sky, and the dragon's roar echoed in their ears. It had completely suppressed Xu Xing and Xu Lia's attack, causing the two of them to complain incessantly. Xiao Yan fixed his eyes on it. Zhu Kun seemed to have said before that Lin Dao's heavenly weapon was ranked at the top among all the students who had heavenly weapons in the past. As the great fortune Lin Dao had obtained in the illusory spirit space, it was obvious that Lin Dao's heavenly weapon was far more powerful than any ordinary heavenly weapon. The Azure Dragon roared furiously, absorbing the origin monarch chi between the heavens and the earth. The monarch skill of the heavenly weapon was automatically unleashed, like a dragon's roar. It caused the void to tremble slightly. Xu Xing's broken-back saber brother, Xu Lia's huge axe was considered one of the stronger spirit weapons. However, in front of the Imperial Dragon Point Blue Spear, it was not even half as powerful as it was when it was at its peak. The suppression of a heavenly weapon was very obvious at this moment. Roar! Along with a faintly discernible dragon roar, Lin Dao's expression was cold. The tip of his spear was flickering with a spiritual light. Taking advantage of Xu Lia's carelessness, he pierced through the latter's chest like a bolt of lightning. In an instant, blood stained the sky. A solemn expression appeared on Mu Yuyang's face when he saw Lin Dao's attack. Lin Dao's strength had already reached the third monarch emperor and was only a little weaker than him. However, the heavenly weapon in his hand was a heavenly net sword that was slightly stronger than his. In this way, the stronger one was, the weaker one would be. It was really hard to say. The two of them were still killed by Lin Dao even though they had joined hands. Xu Xing's expression became even more bitter and cold. Both of his eyes were red as he stared at Lin Dao. Due to his fury, his entire body trembled slightly. He had also reached the strength of 5 monarch emperor, but compared to this fellow in front of him, he was actually so weak. Taking advantage of the moment when Lin Dao shook off Xu Lia's corpse, Xu Xing suddenly turned around and rushed in another direction. Facing this monstrous genius, his fear had finally won over his rationality, and he fled frantically. Seeing that Xu Xing had disappeared in an instant, Mu Yuyang let out a light breath and mumbled, "It's over." Lin Dao let out a cold snort as soon as his voice faded. Like a dragon swimming in the sky, he turned around and rushed towards the place where Xu Xing had fled. What a fast speed! When he came with me just now, he was still holding back. Seeing Lin Dao's speed, Wu Shaoqi's face turned bitter and said with slight disappointment. Her speed had always been something she was proud of. She never thought that she would be able to obtain the inheritance of Flame Lord. Hong Long, this is his movement technique. He obtained it along with the Imperial Dragon Point Blue Spear in illusory spirit space. It's called Dian Kangtian. There are a total of 7 stages. Lin Dao has only cultivated it to the 4th stage. Mu Yuyang faintly looked at Wu Shaoqi and smiled. Lin Dao's movement technique was something that even he was envious of. The 4th stage has this kind of speed. Cultivating to the 7th stage is as easy as moving your body. Xiao Yan also exclaimed. Compared to Lin Dao's movement technique, his 9-wind rotation was a bit inferior. It seemed like he needed to find a suitable movement technique, the monarch skill. Although the first style of the White Tiger arts, the White Tiger Spirit Sealing Flash, could also increase his speed by leaps and bounds. However, it would only take him a few moments to escape. After making up his mind, Xiao Yan focused his attention on the 3 drops of blood essence. He took out the blood essence. In an instant, the origin qi in this world began to surge violently, as if it had received a tremendous fluctuation. The faint silver substance outside is the essence of the silver moon, and it's also what I need this time. He received a drop of blood essence from Xiao Yan. Mu Yuyang took a look and put it away. He didn't ask why Xiao Yan wanted 2 drops. Wu Shaoqi also looked at it curiously. She could not help but be shocked when she sensed the power contained on it. Then she curled her lips and rolled her big eyes. The strength that Lin Dao displayed today had completely shocked her. It had also allowed her to witness what a true expert was. She had made up her mind. After returning, she would cultivate honestly and fully comprehend the inheritance. While they were talking, Lin Dao carried a long spear on his shoulder and slowly stepped into the sky. There was a corpse at the tip of the spear. It was Xu Xing. Looking at Mu Yuyang, Lin Dao suddenly revealed a smile. Mu Yuyang, I saved you this time. Mu Yuyang nodded silently. Although the 2 of them didn't talk much normally, they both regarded each other as their only competitor. Now that he had been saved by Lin Dao, the main point was to see the strength displayed by the latter. After shaking Xu Xing's corpse off the ground, Lin Dao turned his wrist. The light on the Imperial Dragon Point blue spear circulated and the blood on it instantly dissipated. He turned his head and looked in the direction of the dark golden beast. A trace of hesitation flashed across his eyes. I have a drop of blood essence here with Xiao Yan. I need the essence of the silver moon outside. The blood essence inside will be yours. Mu Yuyang narrowed his eyes and said in a low voice. Lin Dao didn't say anything. He looked down and nodded. Okay. Although the experts who had died were the top forces of their respective sects, their true treasures were all in their own sects. They didn't carry any treasures with them, which prevented them from being taken away by their enemies. After saying a few words, the few of them rushed towards the direction of the Yunluo Academy. Xiao Yan looked into the distance and a joy immediately surged into his eyes. The longing in his heart also rapidly expanded. This way, Xun would be able to wake up very quickly. To Yunluo Academy. Xiao Yan and the others did not delay at all. They chatted for a while in the outer mountain of Silver Moon Mountain. Mu Yuyang still had to complete the graduation exam, so naturally he would not go back. Lin Dao rarely stepped out of Realm and Valley, so he was not in a hurry to go back after coming out. Wu Shaoqi was worried about going back to cultivate immediately. This way, Xiao Yan and Wu Shaoqi went back to the academy together. On the way, Xiao Yan also asked Wu Shaoqi about the Spirit Pavilion in detail. This was what he understood. The Spirit Pavilion was one of the most important places in the Yunluo Academy. The areas that were usually open to the public were relatively normal, and those were even more precious things. They were stored in the depths of the Spirit Pavilion, and only a few students could enter. The 10 people on the Soaring Dragon ranking were naturally one of them. Xiao Yan thought of the poison-dissolving pill formula Wu Shaoqi had given him, and nodded slightly. According to Ran Hong, the Spirit Pavilion should have these medicinal ingredients. The most important Heavenly Beast blood essence had already been obtained. The remaining ones were not too difficult to find. Xiao Yan had also coincidentally seen the purifying spirit dew in the alchemy room of the Elixir Association. Although the price was not very high, Ran Hong still gave it to him. No matter what, this favor to the Elixir Association. He had already owed them too much. After returning to the academy, Wu Shaoqi greeted Xiao Yan and hurriedly flew to her residence. After witnessing Lin Dao's strength, she, who was unwilling to admit defeat, desired to improve her strength even more. If she could completely master Flame Lord's inheritance this time, her strength would definitely increase by an unbelievable amount. After saying goodbye to Wu Shaoqi, Xiao Yan headed straight to the Spirit Pavilion. After going out for a while, there were only 3 fire wings left. This kind of consumption caused Xiao Yan's heart to ache. He immediately made up his mind. After Xuan'er woke up, he would stay in the academy and cultivate. He would strive to reach the monarch emperor as soon as possible, so he wouldn't need to waste so much effort. In the spirit pavilion, Elder Wang, whom Xiao Yan had met once before, was still sitting there lazily. He was flipping through an old book in his hand. In the main hall, many students were reading carefully, hoping to find something useful to them. Ever since the inner courtyard competition, Xiao Yan had not used the spirit origin formation many times. He had exchanged Li Yin's head for a lot of spirit origin stones. After entering the soaring dragon ranking, the academy rewarded him with many spirit origin stones. As for the exact amount of Xiao Yan's, Xiao Yan did not take a close look. This time, in order to buy a few special medicinal ingredients, he had specially taken a look at the storage ring before entering. Originally, there were still 150,000 spirit origin stones remaining. However, from the beginning until the end, he had used around 10,000 spirit origin stones. Adding on the rewards from the academy, this number shockingly reached over 300,000 spirit origin stones. I wonder if it's enough. After muttering softly, Xiao Yan lifted his leg and walked towards the spirit pavilion. When Elder Wang heard the sound, he lazily raised his head and looked at Xiao Yan. When he saw Xiao Yan, he immediately stood up and greeted him with a smile on his face. He had also heard of the latter's deeds. He was ranked 4th on the Soaring Dragon ranking with Zhu Tianwo, and had easily defeated Bai Yongqiao and the others. He couldn't help but be surprised by his strength and talent. What do you want to exchange for this time? Elder Wang looked at Xiao Yan with a smile on his face, but secretly sized him up. He estimated that Xiao Yan had already been listed as a student who must enter the realm in Valley. Lu Xiangyang and Mu Yiyue had also been here a few times, and he could only praise the latter. However, for Lu Xiangyang, although he was the 2nd in the Soaring Dragon ranking and had even become the captain of the executive department, he was in the limelight for a while. He was the first candidate to enter the realm in Valley, but for some reason, he felt that the possibility of this guy entering the realm in Valley was extremely small. Elder Wang, Xiao Yan also slightly nodded his head and looked at the top of the spirit pavilion. He said softly, "This student wants to enter the depths of the spirit pavilion. Can you allow it?" Elder Wang wasn't surprised. He nodded and said, "Follow me." After saying that, he walked towards the depths of the spirit pavilion with a hunched back. Xiao Yan followed closely behind. When the other elders on duty saw this, they did not say anything. Naturally, there were members of the punishment department maintaining order here. They were not afraid of anyone forcefully snatching them away. When Xiao Yan came for the first time, he found out about the identity of the Saint rank trial participant. Elder Wang had the intention to let him enter the depths of the spirit pavilion, although it hadn't been realized yet. But this time, Xiao Yan had taken the initiative to ask for it. Naturally, Elder Wang wouldn't say anything. He brought Xiao Yan to a secret corner of the hall. If it wasn't for Elder Wang leading the way, Xiao Yan really wouldn't have noticed this place. The origin chi on his palms rose. He pressed it against the wall. In the next moment, a wooden door slowly appeared from the wall. Under Elder Wang's lead, Xiao Yan passed through a dark tunnel and stepped into a bright hall. Seeing the layout of the hall, Xiao Yan sucked in a breath of cold air. The hall was extremely luxurious. Crystal glass was arranged in an orderly manner, and the items stored inside were very rare. The items stored here are the items collected during the graduation examinations of the past students, as well as the cultivation insights of the various elders. They are the most valuable items in the Yunluo Academy. After a pause, Elder Wang sighed and said, "According to the rules, I want to see you here. I hope you can understand." Xiao Yan nodded his head. He didn't have any feelings in his heart. He walked forward step by step. Xiao Yan's eyes were fixed on the item inside the crystal glass. It wasn't just the herbs, the heavenly materials, and the powerful spirit weapons. However, the difference was that each item didn't have a price tag. Xiao Yan was confused. How do we exchange these items? Xiao Yan stopped walking and looked at Elder Wang, who was standing behind him, and asked curiously. The things inside can no longer be measured with spirit origin stones, but you can use them as you wish. They will be recorded in the record. When you graduate, you will complete the corresponding task to make up for it. As he spoke, Elder Wang thought for a while and said, "Back then, Mu Yuyang seemed to have taken an immortal copper from here, so he needs to obtain a large amount of silver moon refined iron for this graduation test." Xiao Yan nodded and didn't say much. Although Mu Yuyang didn't obtain the Silver Moon refined iron, the Silver Moon essence that was covered by that drop of blood essence was even more precious. After looking at it for a long time, Xiao Yan finally discovered the spirit-cleansing dew that was needed to refine the poison-dissolving pill. He immediately told Elder Wang that the latter had taken out a completely transparent jade pearl. After which, he carefully took out the information on the spirit-cleansing dew. Xiao Yan looked over. The spirit-purifying dew in his hand was like a drop of water. It was extremely clear. There were 2 green leaves around the drop of water, which made it appear quite enchanting. After slowly putting away the storage ring, Xiao Yan restrained his thoughts of going back to concoct pills. He continued to watch the scene. It was not easy for him to come to the spirit pavilion, so he naturally wanted to see it for himself. Elder Wang didn't rush him. He slowly followed Xiao Yan, allowing the latter to stare at him in a daze. Within a crystal glass, Xiao Yan saw a few medicinal ingredients lying quietly. This appearance was one of the main ingredients that Xiao Yan had been looking for to refine the essence-protecting pill. Although he was still a long way from advancing to the next level. There was still a long period of time before the Emperor cultivation, but Xiao Yan had to start preparing as well. Not only for him, but also for Xuan Kai Lin, Ji Yu Yuan and Zhu Kun. He had to prepare a few Kai Lins for each of them. This way, the chances of them advancing to the Emperor cultivation would be higher. I want all of these. Xiao Yan pointed at the nearly 10 herbs in the glass cabinet and said softly. Elder Wang frowned when he saw this. He hesitated for a moment but still tried to persuade Xiao Yan with good words. If you are not in a hurry to use them, then forget it. The more you take, the more difficult the tasks you need to complete during the graduation exam. At that time, I'm afraid. Xiao Yan only smiled when he heard that. He was determined to obtain this kind of medicinal herb. As for the so-called graduation test, he would look at it at that time. Seeing Xiao Yan's expression, Elder Wang helplessly shook his head. After recording down the information on these medicinal ingredients, he took out all of them and gave them to Xiao Yan. Carefully keeping them, Xiao Yan roughly scanned the surroundings. Although he had discovered quite a number of good things, now was not the time to carefully observe them. With the medicinal ingredients needed to refine the poison-dissolving pill, the next step was the most important, pill refinement.